Today, we're putting two of 2025's most talked about 4K TVs head-to-head, the Samsung QN90F and the Hisense U8QG. These are two powerhouse mini LED TVs, each aiming to dominate the premium LED market, but they go about it in very different ways. Whether you're a hardcore gamer, a cinephile, or just someone looking to upgrade your living room setup, this comparison will help you figure out which one delivers the best performance for your needs and your budget. I've linked both TVs down in the description so you can check today's prices while you're watching. Let's start by talking about design. The Samsung QN90F continues the sleek, minimalist aesthetic that Samsung is known for. The bezels are razor-thin, almost invisible when you're watching content, and the central pedestal stand is as sturdy as it is stylish. The TV's chassis is slim for a mini LED display, giving it a very premium wall-friendly look. Hisense's U8QG, on the other hand, leans a bit more industrial in its design. It's slightly thicker with a bolder, more aggressive look, especially when you look at the feet-style stand and brushed metal frame. It doesn't look cheap, far from it, but it does have a more utilitarian vibe compared to the elegant polish of the QN90F. When we get into picture quality, things start to get really interesting. Both TVs use mini LED backlighting paired with quantum dot color technology, which allows for greater brightness and better local dimming than standard LED TVs. But the way they execute this technology is where they diverge. The QN90F features Samsung's Neo QLED panel with their neural quantum processor 4K at the heart of it all. This chip uses AI to analyze scene-by-scene content and optimize everything in real time, from sharpness and brightness to motion and contrast. Peak brightness on this model hits around 2,500 nits, which is more than enough to make HDR content leap off the screen, even in rooms with a ton of ambient light. It also has over 1,500 local dimming zones, which helps it maintain deep blacks without losing shadow detail, even in complex scenes with both dark and bright areas. The Hisense U8QG doesn't lag far behind. In fact, on paper, it sometimes surpasses the QN90F in raw specs. It boasts up to 3,000 nits of peak brightness, which is staggering and ideal for anyone dealing with a very bright viewing space. It also features around 1,600 dimming zones, and Hisense's HiView Engine Pro handles dynamic contrast and upscaling duties. While Samsung might edge out slightly in terms of processing finesse and color accuracy, Hisense's panel produces incredible punch and vibrancy, particularly in HDR formats like Dolby Vision, which, notably, Samsung still doesn't support. That brings us to content support. If you watch a lot of Netflix or Disney Plus content mastered in Dolby Vision, the U8QG has a distinct advantage. It supports Dolby Vision IQ, and HDR10+, while Samsung continues to avoid Dolby Vision entirely, sticking to HDR10 and HDR10+. This means some Dolby Vision content won't look as dynamic or optimized on the QN90F, especially in scenes with very subtle shadow gradations or bright highlights. For everyday viewing, like cable, sports, and streaming, the QN90F looks incredibly clean and refined. The upscaling is top-notch, and motion handling is buttery smooth thanks to Samsung's Motion Accelerator Turbo Plus technology. Fast-moving sports like soccer and F1 racing look nearly artifact-free, and judder is virtually non-existent. Hisense holds its own here too. The U8QG supports a native 120Hz panel with solid motion interpolation, though its processing isn't quite as nuanced. Fast action can look a bit over-sharpened if you leave everything on factory settings, but after a few tweaks in the menus, it balances out nicely. Now let's talk gaming, because this is a major factor for a lot of buyers in 2025. Both TVs are built for modern consoles like the PS5 and Xbox Series X. You're getting 4 HDMI 2.1 ports on each, full support for 4K at 120Hz, variable refresh rate VRR, auto low latency mode, and FreeSync Premium Pro. Samsung includes its updated Game Bar, which now displays real-time frame rate, input lag, and even allows you to adjust black levels and aspect ratio on the fly. The input lag is impressively low, just under 10 milliseconds in game mode. Hisense, however, isn't far behind. The U8QG also includes a Game Mode Pro interface with many of the same tools. Where Hisense actually pulls ahead is with support for Dolby Vision gaming at 4K 120Hz, something Samsung still doesn't offer. For Xbox gamers in particular, that's a meaningful feature. Input lag on the U8QG is also competitive, hovering around 12 millisecond, which is still very fast and more than enough for even serious gamers. Sound is another area worth mentioning. Neither TV has mind-blowing built-in audio, but both are better than average. The QN90F includes Samsung's object tracking sound light system, which simulates positional audio based on on-screen movement. It creates a decent sense of space but can't fully replace a dedicated soundbar. The Hisense U8QG comes with a 2.12 speaker setup featuring Dolby Atmos support, and surprisingly, it delivers richer bass and more impactful audio than you'd expect from a TV at this price. Still, if you're investing in either of these TVs, a proper sound system is recommended to complete the experience. Finally, let's talk about smart TV features. Samsung uses its refined Tizen platform, which is fast, customizable, and loaded with apps. It supports Google Assistant, Alexa, and Samsung's own Bixby voice control. The interface has been simplified in 2025 with a better content recommendation engine and multi-view mode for watching two sources side by side. Hisense runs on Google TV, which has been steadily improving over the past few years. It's responsive, intuitive, and ties in beautifully with other Google services. If you're an Android user, you'll feel right at home. Voice control via Google Assistant is built in, and casting from your phone is seamless. So which one should you buy? If you're after the absolute best in processing, motion handling, and build quality, and you don't mind the lack of Dolby Vision, then the Samsung QN90F is an excellent premium pick. It's bright, fast, and beautiful, with some of the best picture refinement outside of OLED. But if you want maximum HDR pop, Dolby Vision gaming, and more value per dollar, the Hisense U8QG might be the better choice. It gets brighter, supports more formats, and holds its own in gaming and movies, all for a significantly lower price. Both of these TVs are amazing in their own right. One leans toward refinement and polish, the other toward raw power and aggressive value. Which one you choose will depend on what you value more in your TV experience. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you go Samsung or Hisense this year? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dive reviews like this. See you in the next one.